Hey everybody, I hope you're having a wonderful day so far. Making a little message, and it's going to be a compilation video, I think. I've been trying to make this message multiple times, and I just want to share in a Kryon experience with all of you. If you don't know who Kryon is, you should type in the name Lee Carroll, Kryon channeling. You'll get so much content information. There's other people who talk about Kryon, channel Kryon. Lee Carroll is sort of the epicenter of where it all comes from. And I did post recently some exciting news. If you didn't see it, I'm going to share it with you right now. I am officially going to be on the Kryon Healing Wednesday show on April 26th at 6 o'clock Pacific time. It's all happening so soon. And see, I get so excited, I get out of breath, and it makes it hard for me to know how to talk. You ever get really happy and your face is just like getting like so tight and big and you can't even breathe and you can't even like open your eyes properly? That's how I feel. That's how I feel. I'm just like, oh my God, oh my God. Because it is coming up so soon that I'm going to be on the Kryon Healing Wednesday show, and you know, I'm going to be meeting Lee Carroll, Monica Marani. I'm going to be on the show, and it's just going to be a mind-blowing experience. I'm probably going to be like, I don't know. I might be deer in headlights. I might just not be able to control my talking. I might just like blabber on. I don't know. You're going to have to join. You're going to have to join in this experience and find out along with me. And we're going to find out together how it's going to go. So I wanted to say that. And I've been thinking about Kryon and my Kryon experiences over the years, and I officially made a playlist of videos that I've shared talking about Kryon. I've done some soul journeys where Kryon was a part of the experience and sharing healing with others. I've channeled Kryon before. Kryon is one of my best energy buddies, okay? So I met him in 2015 working in a big company, in a cubicle, just a little person in a big company working in a cubicle. And when I worked this job, we were allowed to, you know, run the YouTube music or videos in the background while we got our work done. And I remember seeing a random thumbnail, and it was something like the, you know, Kryon and whatever the title was. But I remember thinking, that's a strange name, Kryon. That's strange. Well, I clicked on it, and I only listened to it for just a couple minutes. And I remember Kryon of Magnetic Service, and I just started laughing like, is this serious? Kryon of Magnetic Service? I was like, whoa, this crazy energy just came over me. And I just felt this like deep, deep gong sound from the depths of my soul and just vibrating out from inside of me. And there was some discussion about how Kryon knows everybody who's listening in. He knows who you are. And I didn't feel freaked out by that. I related to that because I already had a pretty solid relationship with the spirit realm, and I knew the spirit realm's always watching. You can't hide from the spirit realm because you're part of the spirit realm, and the spirit realm's a part of you, and everything you're doing, they know. It's like Santa and the naughty nice list. Santa knows, the spirit realm knows, Kryon knows. And so there was some kind of conversation about Kryon, you know, knowing everybody who's listening in, and I felt that vibration. I just had to stop the video because I was so just taken aback by what in the world just happened in just a few short minutes. I felt this desperate need to get out of work so I could find out who this Kryon guy was, because we're talking about the energy world. We're talking about exchanges with consciousness in the energy world, and I'm highly sensitive to that. I could feel him immediately. I could feel him immediately, and I was blown away by the sensation of Kryon. And when I got home, the whole evening, and when I fell asleep, and when I woke up in the morning, and day after day after day, my life became full of this Kryon experience. And Kryon literally carried me through some of the darkest times of my life. Kryon, okay? So if you're ever going through unfathomable hardship and you have literally nobody to talk to, nobody who understands you, Kryon understands you. Kryon you can talk to. It's just like people have their go-to, like Archangel Michael or Jesus, or, you know, they have their person in the spirit realm that they go to. Kryon's one of my major go-tos. And I made a video and I added it to the playlist. I have to re-listen to that video. I don't know if I mentioned Kryon in it or not, but he was a really big part of a time in 2016. So I started my YouTube channel making face-forward videos in 2015. And then in 2016, I left my full-time job, okay, because I started doing energy healing sessions, soul journey sessions, and everything just happened so quickly. So I was able to leave my full-time job and just do this work full-time. Well, it's crazy that when I left my full-time job, started becoming a full-time psychic energy healer, I went through one of the scariest experiences I've ever known, I could ever fathom knowing. And it was this horrifying psychic attack event. So I added that discussion about my dark night of the soul. It was a psychic attack experience that I endured for months between 2016 and 2017. I endured it, and this was right after I left my full-time job, started doing energy work full-time. I went through the psychic attack nightmare. I mean, it's a miracle that I'm still here today to keep talking, to keep sharing energy healing, but it was Kryon who helped me get through that. Then Kryon taught me something really important. And I remember I had this moment. I was in the bathroom, and I used to just turn the lights off in the bathroom, okay? Just hear me out. The shower is running. I get in the shower in the pitch darkness. It sounds weird, but sometimes when it's just completely dark, there's nothing that my eyes focus on. There's just nothing that my eyes focus on. My eyes can be open and there's no light, nothing to focus on, and it just helps me get oddly heart-centered. And I sit down while the shower is running and I just feel the hot water, and it helped me cope with an experience that was very traumatizing, as I felt like I was being attacked psychically. I felt like I was being burned alive. I was getting attacked in the middle of the night. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I started developing paranoia. It was very extreme, very hard to go through. And while I was in the shower, see, I started to get out of breath just telling you guys, because everything's so surreal for me right now. I'm literally going to be on the Kryon Healing Wednesday show on April 26th. Well, I was facing, in my mind, I was facing these beings. They look like snakes, and they were alienoid snakes. And there was just this army of alien snakes. I'm like, I'm exhausted telling you guys about this. My emotional patterns have been all over the place because of this. And even as I'm just sharing with you, I'm just going to be myself about it. Kryon told me something extremely important. The most important thing that anybody could know about anything as far as how to face something dark in the energy world. He asked me to take a look at those alienoid snakes. He told me to look them in the eye and to share all the light within my heart and soul with them, and dance with them and laugh and sing with them. So I merged my spirit and my energy with that scene in my mind, and I just started dancing around, and I danced with them, and I laughed and I shared joy, and they all just started to disappear. That was the first time I had relief from feeling like I was being burned from the inside out. It was painful, and it wasn't physically real, but it was completely physically felt. I need to pause for a minute. It's kind of strange to reminisce on this story because it kind of drains me to talk about it. I feel like I'm so far past that time. And Kryon was with me every single night. He helped me to fall asleep at night. And when something would wake me up in the night, he would be there and tell me that I was safe and that I was going to be okay. And when you feel so scared, it's hard to not feel scared. It's really hard. But when you have someone there so you're not alone, it helps. It helps you endure the experience. Along with what he was teaching me about my own light and how powerful it is, there were other experiences that I had, visitors that would come in the night that I could practice this on now, right? And slowly but surely, I wiggled my way through that. And by March of 2017, I considered myself a master in love. And you will find that the love that you are, the light that you are, the joy that you are, the laughter that you are, your true happiness, it's an energy, it's a feeling, it's a sensation. Now, when you can acclimate to that, when you can be that completely, you are so ridiculously powerful in the energy world. There's nothing that can hurt you ever. There's nothing that can hurt you ever. And that's why I don't have any fear when I look at anything in the energy world. There's nothing to be afraid of. And Kryon helped me to get there, you know? There was another time, and I recently shared this story about Kryon. In this memory, I I was in a dream, and the dream was very vivid. It was very real. It was the experience of a lucid dream. And so a lucid dream is almost more real than the real world, okay? Well, there was a demon in this dream, and this was years after that psychic attack time. This demon was just constantly pestering me throughout this very vivid dream, and I wasn't worried about that. I kept sending light into this demon. And then I started to notice myself focusing more and more and more on it because I was ready. I just wanted it to be transformed. I wanted it to move on. Well, finally, I had to wake up. I just did wake up, and I was surprised because this demon just wouldn't transform. How could this demon not be transforming? I'm putting light and love into it. I'm putting joy into it. I'm being playful with it. I'm not worried about how it's trying to attack me or destroy me. I'm helping guide it into some kind of light within itself. That's what I do in journeys, you know? Well, when I woke up, I talked to Kryon. I said, why wouldn't that demon transform? And Kryon told me it's because I believed that it would take time. And I thought, well, that's kind of weird. And so in a lucid dream state, my belief system defines the outcome of everything in that experience. And even if I take the reality of my human life, where when I do a demon transformation in real life, when I'm in a journey state, project my consciousness into someone's experience and I'm facing a demon that's pestering them, there actually is a movement of time. There is a sensation of, I can feel that demon from the inside out, slowly but surely acclimating to the light that it's been rejecting inside of itself, and now giving into that light and finding freedom in this. And it's just simply love. Like, what is a demon if it isn't an emanation of what is turning its back on the light within itself? I have so much experience with demons. The whole meaning of a demon is so different to me than when I first started doing energy work. The Kryon has been there this whole time, teaching me right alongside everything I've been doing along the way. He's been a master teacher in my life. You look for a master teacher in another human being, as somebody that you can relate to, that speaks your language, you like their style, and they're wise, they're gifted, they're talented, they have something meaningful to share. Then imagine your master teacher is an energy being. Kryon is a master teacher for me, but he's also a best friend, and he's a family member. He's somebody I deeply love and cherish his soul so much. I have so many other memories with him. It's not just about how he's helped me through difficult times. It's just how he's been a friend to support me. During times where I've been very lonely, I've felt him even stop time and give me the very snowflakes from the sky. He just gave love to me. When I felt so empty and lonely, it's almost like anybody who knows what loneliness feels like, it feels like you're digesting your own energy and you've run out. It's just this awful, painful, self-consuming hell. It's no breath at all. Your soul's suffocating in a desert of some kind of despair, of energetic hell. It's like genuine loneliness can feel like that. And so he filled a void for me that I didn't have to be lonely when Kryon was around, you know? These are just some stories, just some viewpoints that you can't deny it. Just knowing these stories alone, me just sharing these stories alone, and I'm coming full circle, and I'm going to be on the Kryon Healing Wednesday show. I still don't know how to acclimate to the reality of this. I don't know why I can't even acclimate to the reality of this. I really want to. So I'm making this video just to share where I'm at, how I'm feeling about it, and give you an opportunity to join in. I highly recommend it. I'm a member of the Kryon Circle of 12. It gives you access to a lot of information, and you get really wonderful emails each week. You get the access to the Kryon Healing Wednesday show. And there's so much more content out there. There's literally a full-fledged website of so much archive, so much information. You would be highly enriching your life for the long term just to join even for a month. It's well worth the experience. So I don't know. In saying all of this, I wanted to actually chill out and channel Kryon in my own Abbey normal way. I can share my own Kryon experience with all of you. All right, I'm gonna relax, getting into the zone here. Okay, Kryon. If you could tell us anything today, What would you like to tell us? He's having me experience just the sounds of my world around me. So currently I'm not home alone, and there's multiple people in the house, and so oftentimes I can feel the presence of people and energy moving, and I find it can be distracting, so I just forget about it. I just zero in between the energy world and myself in complete conversation. So he's having me be aware of all the sounds around me. And when that happens, it feels like normal day-to-day life. It feels like not like I'm blocking out the sounds of life, but I'm bringing them in, bringing in the sounds of life. To bring in the sounds of life as I'm sharing a channeled message is a bit strange, because usually tune out all those sounds to be able to hear the energy world, because the sounds of this physical reality can be disorienting. They could be very distracting amidst the sounds that you're listening to in other dimensional spaces. So I have to kind of move my inner ears to where it is that I'm going to be accessing the message, and I need to just focus on that space and the energy of that space. So if I'm in my physical reality hearing all these sounds, that is what I am present with. I'm not present with the sounds of this dimensional space that he's guiding me to. So he's guiding me to the present of my home environment's sounds, okay? The dryer's going, by the way, in the background. Door just open and closed. A light switch on and off. Maybe it's not the right time to do this. Maybe every time I want it to be the right time, it's never the right time. It's always the wrong time. He says, well, why would it be the wrong time? And I say, because the more you have me pay attention to all the sounds, it seems ridiculous that I would be making a video right now. Really should just be making a video when there aren't any other sounds. And I have taught myself how to balance reality in the most extreme circumstances, where I don't allow anybody to have a clue what is going on in the background or what is happening in my personal life. Like, I would never let anybody have a clue what I'm actually dealing with. I just keep the focus, the energy, the attention on the goal, okay? The goal is the presentation. The goal is what we're going to be learning today. And that could be in a very busy time, and I can't help that. That could be an emotionally destroying time, and I can't help that. Be during a psychic attack nightmare for months and months, and I can't really help that. But I have to stay focused on what it is, the quality of what it is that I am sharing. Because I choose to share quality with the world. Well, to share the quality despite the circumstances, I have to learn how to disconnect from the circumstances and focus on the goal, okay? So that's why I'm saying, maybe this isn't the best time. You're asking me to focus on the sounds that I would definitely not choose to focus on in order to present a valuable message from you to the viewer. So I'm just waiting to see what he says next. He wants me to explain to everybody what my idea of a valuable message is. And this bothers me, this question. Because I struggle to know the answer to that. I don't know what the answer is. I guess you could say to share a message that is understandable, enjoyable to listen to, or meaningful to listen to, that is providing some kind of depth, a new way of thinking or seeing things, a human being who is caring, who is trying their best. Now, I think that is what puts together a valuable message. Something about this conversation is hard, emotionally hard for me. I ask him, well, what else? Well, I tell him basically, more than likely, I mean, maybe I'll share this message. I'll have to re-listen to it, but as of right now, I'm convinced that I probably won't share this message. Because I feel like he just wants to tell me something. And then maybe him telling me something, maybe there's importance to this conversation between me and Kryon for others. I don't know. So I'm not really saying it to you, or even, you know, something we're learning together. It seems to be singling me out specifically. And so as if I believe in myself, and I say I have two sides to that answer. One is yes and one is no. And yes, I do believe in myself because I know I'm a hard worker, I'm passionate, I try as best as I can, and I never stop no matter what happens. Because I know what my heart is guiding me to do, and I'm just going to keep doing it because I don't know what else to do. All I can do is live based upon my heart. It's like a squirrel knows how to live a squirrel's life, and it's just going to focus on that every single day, all day long. It's just going to keep doing that thing. Why would a squirrel stop, I don't know, eating nuts to go eat some tomatoes out of a garden? It's just, why would it shift from something that makes sense to a squirrel to something that makes sense to some other animal? It's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep doing the one thing I know how to do. And because of all this, I believe in myself. Now, naturally, there's this other side of me who's convinced that, you know, it's kind of like the dark and light sides of ourselves. We have this, you know, we have the light side, we have the dark side. The dark side is full of negativity. It's influentially negative. It's believably negative. It's encouraging us to believe in the most negative possibilities of ourselves. And so how do you deal with that? You literally ignore it. You can transmute it all day long, but it seems like you're gonna come full circle with it again and again and again and again. And it might just be your doppelganger that you deal with for the rest of your life. And so while I totally believe in myself, I have this doppelganger who will relentlessly ensure that I have every reason to not believe in myself. So I have to simultaneously juggle this sort of caliber of reality. And I'm convinced we all do. I'm convinced that this is not some Abbey thing, that this is my special problem. It's everybody has some weird doppelganger that will relentlessly ensure that you believe the worst case scenario about yourself while you simultaneously know none of that's true. And so I don't know how you just make that go away. And so I'm not trying to make it go away. Sometimes I spend time with it. And sometimes I spend time with it in the wrong way. And sometimes I spend time with it in the right way. As in, I tell it that I know you're afraid. I know you're afraid, for instance, of screwing up or saying the wrong thing or not being the person that you want people to see in you, and instead they might see some other person that's not really there, and you really want to bring out the best in this message, the best presentation of yourself, that help others bring out the best in their self based upon the message you're sharing, etc. And so I talk to that side, and in a loving way, in a way that says, I love you for just the way that you are, and I understand what you're afraid of. And if I fail to approach it in that way, then I start taking on the voice of the doppelganger and putting myself down, right? So we do this stuff. We're complex human beings. We have this this tug of war, this reality struggle every single day in different volumes with different vulnerabilities, you know? And so let's see what else Kryon wants to say. He wants to say a lot of things. I'm just listening right now. It's important that I brought in the sounds of the background because it gives you a feel for me in a normal everyday setting, trying to accomplish this video for all of you with day-to-day life happening. And how I have to accept that. You just have to work with what we get and do the best that we can with it. And it's not necessarily perfect circumstances. They're oftentimes not ideal circumstances. And it's important to bring in those sounds because it's familiar. I mean, you guys know what the dryer going in the background sounds like, a door opening and closing that needs the WD-40 and just haven't gotten around to doing it. The light switch going on, turning off. Like, you guys know what that sounds like. People moving about the house. You just know what it sounds like. Maybe you're on a working from home on a business meeting. Maybe there's something you need to be doing and it's just constantly another distraction. It's just separating your mind from your focus. Well, I'm still choosing to be in focus. All right, so what else, Kryon? All right, so we are taking it from day-to-day conversation and we are moving it into a deeper dimensional space. And I feel that happening. I feel myself gravitating toward an environment in the energy world. And it's both above water and below water, and the water is not visible, but there's plant life that kind of moves as though there's water here. And there's plant life, but it's not familiar plant life. It's brown, but it does seem healthy, okay? And it's thick. Shrubs, basically. He's talking to me about something very important. It's not just important to me, it's important to everybody. I know the scene is strange. I know we're talking about water that we can't see, shrubs that are brown and healthy and moving back and forth like water is there, but yet we're breathing air. Believe it or not, the scene is about confidence in oneself. That's what the first thing about the scene, Kryon is wanting to talk about, having confidence in yourself. The reason for the water that isn't there, that is visibly there somehow, is emotion. Emotion that is moving. And air that is hard to breathe sometimes. Because the emotions get in the way. He says that these plants are as best as they can be. They actually represent not being perfect. But they're healthy in their imperfection. And that's what makes them special. This is very emotional for me. The doppelganger comes in, and the doppelganger wants to pick these plants. It wants to make these plants go away. I openly and honestly show Kryon that. I'm not trying to hide anything. You can't hide in the energy world. You can't hide what makes you vulnerable and what makes you ugly inside. You can't hide your dark side. And so we both stand here, and I am the doppelganger as I'm also not the doppelganger. And I don't choose to pick the plants, but the other side of me does. And so only one can make a decision. The plants will stay or the plants will go. What will it be? You will have to accept the decision that you make. If you remove the plants, you will have an experience. If you keep the plants, you will have a uniquely different experience. So you have to make a solid decision, and you need to take ownership of that decision. I say to Kryon that I know about time. I know that we can pick all these plants and explore what happens next. And then we can go right back into where we left off and have not picked a single plant and move forward with a totally different path and see what it looks like. I already know, that's why I'm not afraid. But something inside of myself says we may not get to remember. We may only get to remember one path and not both paths. So we need to decide, what are the memories that we want to make today? The memories where we picked the imperfect plants, or the memories where we knew that the plants were perfect in their imperfection, and that it was all emotion getting in the way of our breathing. Which one are we going to give into in order to build the next stage of memories? I need a minute to decide. Hold on. The decision is neither right now. It's not whether I pick them or I don't pick them. I just look Kryon in the eyes right now. Then I take the focus off of the plants, as though they are the most important thing in the scene. And Kryon says sometimes you have to make a decision as though it is the most important decision you could ever make. And right now I need you to make the decision. Okay, give me a minute here. Take some time to look at the plants, get into the heart of the plants to really understand their purpose, their presence. They're basically shattered memories. They're shattered memories that don't know how to heal. And the doppelganger wants to pick them and let them go so that the shattered memories, the vibration of the shattered memories aren't remaining. We're not distracted by those shattered memories that we can't heal, so to speak. So in a way, it's acting out of a sense of love or kindness in its own nature. And so the other side of me touches the plants. But I also acknowledge that I'm not sure how to heal these. That I could put light into them all day, but it seems to me that I need new experiences in order to heal them. If I can't access those experiences, these just remain. I want to come up with an example to help you understand what I'm talking about. I suppose an example is something really difficult happens in your life, and it's kind of a divine experience that even traumatized you. It was essential that it worked out in the way that it did, that it affected you in the way that it did, and even broke you to the core of your soul in the way that it did. That you could learn some core experiences about love or forgiveness or patience or letting go or whatever it is. But even in time, it doesn't necessarily mend the memory. The memory is just this forever stain that you relive even when you try not to. And sometimes you need more time and you need new memories that you are able to focus your energy and your attention on new things so that you're able to kind of circulate away from putting too much energy into what has developed into the identity of your present self, which is a compilation of pain that hasn't healed, wounds that are not mended, you know? Then the wounds aren't necessarily physical. They're emotional. They're wounds of the heart. They're wounds of the soul. They're shattering wounds that it can't be undone what was done. And even if it was fixed, it doesn't necessarily repair it because the honest event was what it was. It just was what it was, you know? And so these plants represent that. No wonder I'm avoiding the conversation, almost like, you know, Kryon, this is really about you and sharing a message with humanity. It's not about these plants. As the plants stay, the plants go, it doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter, Kryon. The plants stay or the plants go. Whether the doppelganger wins or the other doppelganger wins. Like the light or the dark side, both doppelgangers. Whether one wins over the other, it doesn't flipping matter. It's just there's something else, you know? But he's asking for a decision to be made. And I'm starting to realize that I can't. Is it holding on to pain? To hold on to these plants? Is it picking them and letting them go? It's, you know, there's this episode, it's a Futurama, I'm pretty sure it's a Futurama episode, and I want to say it's the very last episode, maybe, where Fry is stuck in a time loop. And basically, there's a button that helps to regenerate him, but he's already fallen off a building. So he's always stuck in the presence of falling off of a building and then splatting on the ground and then being reborn again and reborn again and reborn again. And maybe it was this episode, maybe it's a different one, but Leela has to go in because she's traumatized by the death of Fry, I'm pretty sure is what it is. And she has to have like a supportive surgery that removes the memories from her brain so she can cope with her life, so she could move on properly. And so I feel like if I were to pick these and let these go, it would be like removing memories in order to perhaps adapt to an entirely new sense of self, like having complete and utter amnesia about a trauma, therefore the trauma never happened. I'm not convinced it works exactly like that because the soul remembers. The soul always remembers. Even if the physical body and the brain is removed, I'm sorry, but the emotional gut, the muscles, the blood, your bones, like your memory is in your tissues. It's in your energy field. It's in your chakras. It's in your soul. So you can't remove it from everywhere. So I feel sometimes these painful memories help us to adapt to becoming extraordinary human beings because we are learning new ways, new techniques for overcoming pain and suffering, for overcoming trauma. And then we end up becoming teachers of each other to help each other get through these experiences too. So I can't give in to the idea, even though I understand it, to pick these plants and just completely let them go. It's like amputating the pain, creating amnesia. It doesn't seem correct to me. I can't make that decision. I'm keeping the plants, which is shattered parts of my soul. And I just start to cry. Because I can feel it. I just say to the plants, I love you enough to love you even though you're shattered. Even if I can't find a way to heal you, I just can't pick you and throw you away. I just can't do it. I just accept it. I just keep trying. And so that's my decision. And Kryon brings me back into the conversation where I was talking about time and new experiences. And sometimes we have to go through periods of time where we are forced to endure the unreconcilable, okay? You endure that which is unreconcilable. So nothing that you do is necessarily going to make it go away. It's not necessarily going to reconcile it. But time and new memories are powerful. And you may always remember, but it may not sting quite the same. It's like any woman who's had a baby remembers how freaking hardcore that experience is. You can't explain it. You could explain it all day long to a woman who's pregnant, never had a baby yet. Try to help them conceive of what this is going to be like and how to cope with it. And how they can cope with it and how they will cope with it no matter what. They'll get to the other side of that experience and they're heroes. And until you actually go through it, you have no idea. You have no idea how unfathomably painful it is. And women for generations and generations and generations and generations have been giving birth, you know. So women share in this memory with each other that women that have had babies know. But even still, we keep having children, right? It's like, we know we're going to have to go through that all over again in this next baby. And we keep having children because, not because the sting of childbirth is enough. Maybe we forgot how bad it really was. But babies are precious, you know, the whole meaning of that experience. There's so much blessing involved with the pain and suffering of that, what is a brief moment in comparison to a whole lifetime. And so he's talking about this too. There's no judgment either way. There's no judgment on the removal of the plants or keeping the plants. It's a personal decision. There's absolutely no judgment on it. It's where my soul's at with the meaning of this, what it means to me and what I feel comfortable with. It's an interesting question. Do we need to keep the memories that have shattered us? And if we could let them go, did we really lose the memory? It's only going to create a different life path, that's all. Different relationship with life and reality. Let's see if he has anything else to say. Yeah, that was the thing. He was showing me in the scene how these plants were being impacted by unexpected seedlings that started to grow. And these seedlings were healthy and vibrant, and they're singing songs that the other plants had once heard, bringing back the memory of childhood memories or joyful moments or music or playfulness. It seems to be the past, the present, and the future. And it impacts these sort of shattered memories, you could say. And it's not focused on the shattered memories so much as the memories of joyful things. And so joyful things are starting to intertwine with the shattered things, but it's not that we want to live as broken people. We don't actually want to live as broken people. We want to live as reborn or rejuvenated, healthy, happy people. We all are striving for this. All of us are. We're all looking for a path, a direction, advice, a master teacher, a friend. We're all looking for this. And it's probably something we'll always be looking for the rest of our life. Everybody's looking for some kind of nurture, whether that's a YouTube or TikTok or yoga or, I don't know, fast food, or actually a fast giving up food. Maybe it's ice cream every single night. I don't know. It's kittens. It's we're all looking for access to nurture and love and wisdom and memories and beautiful experiences that make us feel happy in our life, make us feel we are living a joyful life. Even if it is difficult, there are abilities to access good things that make us smile, you know? So that's Kryon come full circle, I guess, in this message anyway. All right, well, that's what I got. Yeah, I'm just deciding if this is everything I want to share. That's all I can think of to share. I wanted to tell you guys about the Kryon Healing Wednesday show, April 26th, 6 o'clock Pacific time. I'll put information in the description. Now, please consider joining. Kryon's awesome. This whole Kryon movement, the Circle of 12, the Kryon Healing Wednesday show, Lee Carroll, Monica Morani, it's just, and there's so many beautiful people in this world. This is just another avenue, you know? And it's an opportunity for me to share myself with a wider audience, and we'll just see what happens, right? We'll just see what happens. We'll just live with the experience and live in the flow of experiences, and we'll just see what happens next, you know what I mean? I just wanted to share some of my memories with Kryon and share a channeled message with Kryon with all of you. So he's a really wonderful being. He's a really wonderful being, and it's wonderful to know him. And thank you all so much for being a part of my journey here on YouTube. And I really appreciate you, and I hope everything in your life is going well. And maybe this video is just maybe another solution or some nourishment, something meaningful for you. All right, have a great day.